Welcome back, everyone.
Okay, it's time to answer some of those burning questions we have about what, when, and how to feed our children. We've got our resident Social Mamas dietitian here with us today, Heather Harvey.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And before we get started, Heather, I've actually got a question that I've always wondered. What is the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist anyway?
Fabulous question. Basically, anybody can call themselves a nutritionist. You can take an online course or a weekend course and you can call yourself a nutritionist. It's not regulated. Anybody can call themselves that. Whereas a dietitian is a registered health profession. We have a college that oversees how we practice to make sure we're practicing ethically and that our standards are kept up to date. So dietitians need to go to school. There's a 4-year undergraduate degree, a year internship, and then we have to write an exam. And every year we do ongoing continuing education to make sure we're kept up to date.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah,
so that's basically the difference. So you always want to look for a registered dietitian or the letters RD after somebody's name.
Okay.
That's some good info.
Awesome. Good to know.
Yeah. All right. I have a question. Lately, I have been eating nonstop. I don't know what's going on. Avery's 5 months old now. I've heard that there's something about a growth spurt coming on, and I can't stop eating.
Are you exclusively breastfeeding right now?
Exclusively, yes.
Yeah, he's probably going through a growth spurt.
Okay.
They tend to happen around 6 months, but they can happen before or after. Every child's different and unique. If you find you're breastfeeding more often, or for longer periods, or you're pumping more frequently, you're probably going through a growth, or he's probably going through a growth spurt.
Right.
And you need the extra calories from the food to produce more milk.
Okay.
If you're exclusively breastfeeding, research has shown that women need an extra 500 calories a day just to produce that extra milk.
Wow, that's a whole lot of cookies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's more food than you're eating your 3rd trimester.
Oh, so I'm actually eating for 2 now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably finding that's exactly right, that you're eating more so you can produce more milk. Because the other thing you want to make sure you're doing is drinking enough water and getting enough fluids in too, because you need enough fluids to help produce the milk as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is. So don't worry.
So I'm not going to gain like 1,000 pounds from all these extra
Probably
calories.
not. Probably
Good to know.
not.
And actually, we're kind of past that stage now. We're done with the breastfeeding. Ben is fully onto solid foods. I would certainly hope so at 16 months. And my problem is that I'm just having a lot of trouble getting him to eat vegetables.
You and every mother out there, Alma.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm not alone.
You're not alone. No, getting kids to eat vegetables is one of the most frequent questions I get as a dietitian when I'm talking to moms and stuff. And the best way to get kids to eat vegetables is if you're eating them yourselves. Right. So you have to set a good example. Right. Both you and whoever else is sitting at the table. So your partner.
Time for a hubby.
Other kids, grandma, grandpa, whoever's there, everybody's got to be part of the vegetable game plan and get on board with it. So make sure that you're leading by example, you're introducing foods lots, and then sometimes you just have to change it up. Kids get into food jags where for whatever reason they just don't like that particular thing. So if they don't like carrot sticks, maybe they like carrot coins, cutting it up.
Oh, wow.
Maybe they like crinkle cut carrots instead of straight cut carrots. Maybe they like them cooked kind of al dente, just a little bit, or cooked really well. Mm-hmm. Maybe they want to dip it. Kids are funny when it comes to food. You just need to try a lot of things out and try a few different things to see what works for them. But definitely keep trying. Don't make a big deal out of it. Mm-hmm. If they see everybody else doing it, they're going to want to be a part of that. They want to be a big kid, grown up too. So just keep it low key. Ask them to try it. Don't force it. Don't reward them for eating it. Notice that they've eaten it, but don't say you have to eat your carrots to get your dessert. It kind of sets up a bad system there. But eventually he'll get onto it. I promise. And last but not least, if you can hide vegetables and stuff, go for it.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
Have you tried that?
Yeah, tried that.
Grating stuff, pureeing stuff, and throwing it into spaghetti sauce, soups, casseroles, stews, whatever they like. I mean, I've heard of people pureeing squash and putting it in with their mac and cheese.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
because
it's
the
same
same color. And spaghetti sauce can hide a bunch of different things, too.
Sure.
Grate it up really finely and cook down. So you got to play with it, but don't lose heart. It will get better.
Well, that's incredible. Those are some great tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
You just solved a whole lot of problems out there.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we're going to get to some member questions. Some of our members had questions online. Ashley from Hamilton Mountain, she wants to know which foods should be avoided until your child is 1 and why.
Right. There are some. In most cases, kids are good to eat just about anything until before a year. You want to start introducing solids around the 6-month mark, and you want to start introducing them gradually. But some things that you should avoid are egg whites. Egg yolks are okay, but egg whites you want to delay until after a year because of risk of food allergy.
Right.
Another thing you want to avoid is honey. Honey can lead to botulism, so it's a foodborne illness, and so you want to make sure that you delay honey until after a year as well.
Okay.
Other things, if your family has a lot of food allergies in them, like you or your husband has a lot of food allergies, you may want to lay off until after a year on some foods that are more allergenic. Things like citrus foods, strawberries, nuts, peanuts, shellfish, fish, soy products, that sort of thing. But if your family doesn't have food allergies, a lot of those can be introduced when your child is getting closer to the year, 9 months a year. The other thing you want to hold off until, not past a year, but until your child is a little bit closer to a year, is cow's milk. You can introduce that around 9 or 10 months, but not as your sole source of nutrition. So as long as you're still breastfeeding or doing formula and you want to introduce a little bit of cow's milk, that would be fine. But you want to, again, not do that at 6 months. You want to wait till closer to a year.
Right.
Okay. And our next question actually ties in really well to that. This comes from Evelina in Stony Creek, and she'd like to know, how will I know if or when my baby has a food allergy? Are there any specific signs to look for?
Yeah, that's a really common question. And that's why when we introduce solid foods, you want to make sure you're introducing foods about 3 days apart. That way, when you're introducing something new, you can check and see if anything is abnormal with your child, and you know that it's probably tied back to that food. If you introduce foods too close together, sometimes it can take 2 or 3 days before you see a reaction. And if you've already introduced 3 foods in that time, you don't know which one it is. So we recommend waiting about 3 days. Things you want to look for, rashes, they can be on your face, a diaper rash, those sorts of things. A runny nose or a cough or a congestion, that sort of thing. Any hives or red blotchiness obviously is a pretty good sign. Difficulty breathing is one that you want to be really careful with.
It's a scary one. Wow.
Absolutely. So if you find your child is kind of like gasping a little bit, you want to pay real close attention to that. The other one is sometimes they can vomit excessively. So vomiting is different than spitting up. You're probably used to your child spitting up. That's quite normal.
Mm-hmm.
Vomiting is a lot more than that. It's spitting up huge amounts consecutive times.
Okay.
So you want to check out for that. Those are the major ones, but it's basically anything sort of out of the ordinary. And if you do notice something out of the ordinary, lay off that food for a while. If it was a minor reaction, introduce it in a few months' time, see if it happens again. If it's a major reaction, hold off and talk to your doctor about it.
Okay,
Right.
great.
I think
actually. Oh, okay, go
Oh.
ahead. We've got so many questions.
I
This is
know,
a
my
very
goodness.
popular topic among our moms.
It really is.
Yeah.
I know.
Way too many to discuss
That's
all
right.
today. Alicia from Millgrove wants to know, when does a baby stop drinking formula?
Around a year.
Okay.
So you want to keep babies on breast milk or formula until about a year. The reason for that is it's a really great source of nutrients, particularly iron. Cow's milk doesn't have iron in it, and so you can end up depleting your iron stores and running into problems. So you want to make sure that you're feeding formula or breast milk to a year. If you want to go past that, that's fine, but they need those until a year. At a year, you can go down to whole milk if you want to instead.
Okay. Awesome. Well, like I said, we've got a ton of questions, but I think that we're going to have to save some of those for next time.
Absolutely.
And we'll be sure to have Heather back with us again to answer some more of those questions that we have and get some more great advice and some more tips.
And thank you so much for coming. Coming up after the break, we're going to have our Frugalista Denise, and we're also going to have our social mamapreneur Karen.